Like, yeah, this is the rush that I come here for. This is why we come to the theater, and it was really fun. Hi, my name is Kayla Pecchioni. I play Mrs. McKee, and I'm in the ensemble of The Great Gatsby, and I understudy Daisy Buchanan. So I started my first Broadway show covering Joaquina Calacango in Paradise Square, and she won the Tony for playing Nellie in that. I got to understudy her, and I think I did it twice. And then I was a swing in Some Like It Hot, and I understudied Sugar, and then eventually understudied Sue, and altogether I covered 10 people, and I think I did Sugar 86 times, and I never got to do Sue. So now I do Daisy Buchanan. So I've kind of made like a little career of being an understudy, and I'm very proud of it. Oh man, rehearsals. It was interesting because when I joined Gatsby specifically, the production had already done its time at Paper Mill, and I was new to the Broadway cast, and so I had a lot to learn just in terms of what the show had become and developed into over time. So I really was focused on my part and the ensemble, because that's where I needed to strengthen myself most, to familiarize myself with most. And then my understudy role stuff kind of came after that. But along the way, I definitely made sure to watch Eva as much as I could and take note of who Daisy was as much as I could. But it's hard because in that process we were separated as ensemble and principals a lot, so I never really got to see her work until we all came together, and I would just kind of soak in her energy and hope to kind of embody the same thing as I continued to learn about Daisy. I mean, the first thing that I do when I'm learning a track, especially when you're learning an entire show and not just the understudy part, I have a habit of making cheat sheets. It is like the best tool that I have discovered for myself. I essentially take the main role that I'm covering, I take it and I squish it all down to maybe 4 or 6 pages of dialogue, basically a mini script of just all of their stuff. And looking at that, it makes the role much more digestible for me, and so I get to see that it's not as intimidating as it looks in the grand scheme of the show. And so I make these tiny little sheets where like my scenes look this big, and that's super helpful, because if there's ever a moment where they need me in an instant and it's early on in the beginning of the process and I haven't had a lot of time to focus on it, then I get to study that really quickly and you know, execute, regurgitate. There's, you know, 2 different sides to the coin. There's, if you're the understudy, there's constant preparation that needs to be done behind the scenes just to make sure that you stay fresh with your material so that it doesn't feel brand new when you go on. But also when you're in the ensemble every single night, you have to be conscious of like not exhausting yourself so that you can be that backup and you can be on standby. My friends always joke that I am 100% Kayla, like I do my shows 100% and I never change them whether I'm in the ensemble or playing a lead, and I have to remember sometimes to not overdo it when I'm in the ensemble just so I can make sure that I'm that sturdy backup. Being a good company member in the sense that you know that in the back of your mind you have another role that is not just doing your regular show 8 times a week, and really sparsing your energy so that you don't exhaust yourself and that you can give your full self to the understudy role when you get those chances to step in, which are always very exciting. If I don't have time to prep, or if I find out that I'm going on in short notice, the first things that I do are a lip trill, a tongue warm up, and then I start plowing water. And then the most important thing that I've learned specifically with this show too is that eventually, once it comes time for the show to begin, my voice will be there. I just have to give it time. So I try not to force it. I try not to go push really hard at the top to make sure that I have it all in that moment. I let myself gradually warm up and trust myself that I will be able to do it in the moment. The first time that I had to do a mid-show swing on in this show, we were I mean, one number in, I think Eva had made it through one number and she was feeling compromised, so, which is totally fair. And she did the healthy thing and she called out. And I, by that point, had done Roaring On and New Money, which are our two hardest dance numbers, for my track at least. And they told me that I was going into literally her next scene, which was the next scene. I was already dressed for that next scene. And I somehow whipped into shape, got my costumes on. The show didn't even have to hold for me. And I was backstage ready to go on in that next scene without announcement. And I just remember being backstage and going, all right, here we go. And I had my baby and I was ready to go out on stage and the show held anyway, but it wasn't for me. But I just remember being ready so quickly and feeling like, yeah, this is the rush that I come here for. This is why we come to the theater. And it was really fun.